A legacy video is a video that captures a person's ideas and thoughts and feelings and dreams, maybe their memories or favorite stories. It can be 5 minutes, it can be an hour, it can be recorded with a professional camera and a beautiful backdrop and lighting, or it can be recorded with a smartphone while sitting in traffic or waiting in carpool line. Anyone can make a legacy video, and everyone should make a legacy video. Why should you make a legacy video? Well, why not? There are lots of people that love you, and they want to hear some of your memories and some of your ideas and thoughts and wisdom. And what better way to capture it than in a video format where people can see your face, hear your voice, see your expressions, and feel your love through a camera. So you should make a legacy video to capture those things. And I like to think of it as a snapshot in time. So hopefully you can make many of these videos and create many snapshots through time. Certainly, Inheritance of Hope families have a unique situation where there's a diagnosis that comes with a prognosis. There's some sort of timeline that a doctor has given them. But really, none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. We don't really know what the future brings. So I think everyone should be capturing some of these things in a legacy video. And my friends Haley and Spencer have a unique perspective on why a legacy video is very important to them.
Hi everyone, my name's Haley Black. I am 20 years old. I currently go to the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. I'm a junior. My mom was diagnosed with glioblastoma in August of 2013. I was a freshman in high school then. My mom made me a legacy video, but I didn't know about it. It was something that I really, really wanted. I had many times throughout it all where I thought, I wish my mom would make me a video. I wish my mom could, write me something for my graduation or my wedding or first day of college, things like that. But I didn't want to ask. I felt like I would be a burden. I would be burdening them to ask my parents to, my mom especially, to, sit down and make this decision and attempt to do this, because I can't imagine how hard it is. And so I never did. I didn't ask for it. I put it off, and then it got to a point where I wanted to. I thought I have to do this, I have to ask, and by then it was too late. My mom couldn't speak anymore. She wouldn't be able to write me a letter, and I thought I missed my opportunity. I thought I missed my chance for this, and by the time I realized it was something I really needed. And the weekend that she passed away, I told my dad that I really wished I would have asked for this video. I wished I would have been brave enough to do that. And he said that she did. She made a video with Inheritance of Hope, and I was so taken back. I got to hear my mom talk again. My mom told me she loved me, and she told me she was proud of me, and she told me stories of when I was a kid and when she was a kid, and I hadn't heard my mom speak to me in months. It had been months since I heard her voice, since I saw the light in her eyes, and even though I wish my mom was with me right now, I miss her every single day. I personally think that video helped me find hope in moving forward and knowing that she loves me and that I'm gonna be okay, because I am okay.
But my name's Spencer. My family was served in May of 2015. Now, looking back on it, I had no idea at the time. My mom passed away about a month after the retreat, which, we didn't know that was gonna happen. She didn't know that was gonna happen. And I have a video now that she made. And I have tons of other things from her, that just pictures and stuff like that help me experience her presence. So what I mean by that is that video, which I've watched many, many times, I don't see that as my mom's final words to me. I don't see that as the encapsulation of who my mom was or anything like that. It's just a way to feel her presence, you know? That's what it is for me. That video stays close to me at all times physically. And I'm very glad that I have it.
There are many concerns or hurdles that people have about making a legacy video. Some say they don't really like the way they look right now. Maybe they want to be a different weight, or their hair doesn't look well. Maybe they lost it during a treatment. And I just want to encourage you that the people that love you know the way that you look, and they love you. So it doesn't matter if things aren't just right. Another concern is people are afraid they might cry. And I just want to encourage you that tears are a beautiful reflection of what matters to you. It shows people that this is something that's important to you. And so I encourage you to let the tears flow. And at the very least, you can pause it, get yourself together, and use a Kleenex, and then start again. Some people are concerned that by making a legacy video, that they're giving up. And I just want to change the perception of that. A legacy video should not be a goodbye video or a giving up video. It is a snapshot of time. We want you to make many of these. And so view it like that, and maybe that'll help you cross that hurdle. Finally, people are often concerned that their legacy video won't be perfect. And I just want to assure you that you are not perfect, and the people that love you already know that. If your legacy video was perfect, it would not be genuine or authentic. So I think you can go ahead and try, give it your best, and probably in all of the imperfections, it will be perfect. In a legacy video, you can talk about your childhood, fun stories or memories, maybe some family traditions that you have, or your favorite family vacation. You can talk about how you met your spouse and what your wedding day was like, maybe what you felt like when you learned you were expecting your children, and a little bit about each of their childhood and what they were like as children. It's really fun to talk directly to your loved ones. Everyone likes to hear about themselves. So speak to your loved ones in your video. Tell them what they mean to you. Maybe your favorite trait in each of them, or some skills and talents that you see in them, things that you're proud of. And also you can share about some of your things that you've learned in life, some wisdom or nuggets that you've taken away, things that matter to you, maybe a favorite Bible verse or quote. These are a lot of things that you can share in your legacy video. Making a legacy video is really easy. Our team of trained legacy video coaches are ready to help you with your video. You can sign up on our app by clicking the box, I'd like to make a legacy video. One of our coaches will reach out to you and walk you through the process. It's very simple to do, and we're hoping that by helping you do some, that you will be ready to do them on your own. And you can do that with a professional camera or with your smartphone. So we just want to inspire and encourage you to think about how easily it can be to capture legacy videos all the time. The best way to share and store your legacy videos is using a cloud storage service like Dropbox or OneDrive or Google Drive. These are services that are simple to use, and you can put all your videos in one place. Maybe you create a folder for your legacy videos. This will make it easy for people to find, including you, and to be able to share them. Some people choose to make a special email address, and they just email themselves to this private address with all of their legacy videos as they make them. And that's definitely another option as well. We have so many wonderful resources on our app and our website. I encourage you to check it out. If you are looking for a legacy video worksheet on our app, you can find that and print it. It's a beautiful document that helps you think through what you might want to say in your video. There's also a list of legacy video interview questions that we've put together over the years. Lots of ideas of things you could talk about in your legacy video. In addition, on our app, there is a legacy library, and there are so many resources about how to be intentional with your legacy, ways to take care of yourself and your family, I encourage you to check out those resources. And for sure, you can check out our blog and other places on social media where we share personal experiences from families we've served, and you can learn more about how other people make legacy videos.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the breakout session on how to make a legacy video. I posted in the chat, aren't we glad we're not on camera right now? That was when Haley was sharing. I don't know about you guys, but every single time I watch that, it chokes me up. It's just such a sweet perspective that she shares so vulnerably, and Spencer too. So I know you guys probably were also glad you weren't on camera at that time. I do want everyone to feel very comfortable to use the chat. So I know I can see that there are many people in here. That's going to be our best way to engage since this is a webinar. So I want this to be interactive. I do have some things to share, but I don't want to just be talking to myself in this computer. So please post in the chat things that you maybe already heard through that little video that we made that excite you or interest you, or maybe you have questions. I would love for the chat to be active, and then I can address some of those things as well. But I'm glad you're joining this breakout. It was sweet to make that video. Honestly, I've sat in many legacy retreats talking to families about making a legacy video. But this is a different perspective, you guys. I know I'm looking at the attendee list. Many of you do not have a diagnosis, and that is awesome. I'm so glad you're here, because my perspective and really like my heart and my true belief is that all of us should really be more intentional about capturing the things that matter to us and preserving them for our futures. And hopefully that's even for ourselves, that when we're older, we can look back and see this snapshot of time of things that were important to us now and things that were our hopes and dreams. I know some people journal, and that's also a really sweet way of capturing those things. But there's something different about a video. You know, you can hear someone's voice, you can see their expressions, and it is just a sweet and very intimate and personal way. So I hope after this session, my goal is that all of you feel inspired to give this a try. And so as you're thinking of things, as you think of ideas or questions, post them in the chat. And I'm going to go ahead and cover a couple of things that came to my mind. But the first thing I want to really address is that first question I said in the video, what is a legacy video? And I laid it out. That's the perception I want you guys to leave with. The legacy video is it's a capturing of you. And I want to tell you two stories about, I've made several legacy videos in my life, many I would say, but some of my sweetest, there's one when I was driving to the car dealership to turn in our minivan that we had had for 13 years. It had like 280,000 miles on it. And I'm driving to the car dealership knowing it's the last time I'm going to drive this van. And I was thinking about all the memories that we had made in the van. Both of my kids were babies when we got it, and we had just so many memories. I remember, you know, changing their diapers on the floor in the back seat. And I remember, you know, just trips we had taken and long car rides. And when they were potty training, I used to keep a little potty seat in the back so that we were at the park. They could, you know, use the potty, and just silly, silly things that don't really matter, but they're sweet stories and memories that maybe would not be remembered even by me many years from now. And so as I was driving to the car dealership, I just took out my smartphone and I had it on selfie mode. And I just talked about the memories that I had from this van and how much they meant to me and how important my kids were to me. And so that's a legacy video. That's really as simple as it can be. Now, certainly it can be more intentional and like direct, where you have specific questions that you want to answer. And that is also a super sweet way to make a legacy video. And I've done that too. But I also want you to know that it could just be sitting in the car, right? When you're turning it in after having it for many years. There's another sweet thing when I pack up my Christmas decorations every year, and I'm putting the ornaments away. Now, I guess you could probably do this when you're putting them out as well. Just taping some of the stories behind some special ornaments. Like, these are stories that you might tell your kids every year, but how sweet to capture them, even maybe for the next generation. And your grandkids will be able to hear you telling the story of these Christmas ornaments. So that's another example of a legacy video. Just trying to help you think creatively and outside of the box of what it actually means to make a legacy video. All right, my second question that I addressed and I'm going to get to your question, Handleys, about the worksheet, so hang tight. The second question was, why should I make one? And, you know, it's no one else in this whole world has your perspective. So even your spouse, your children, people who have lived in your home with you for many years, they don't have your perspective. It's unique. You are unique, and there are people that love you. And that's the thing that I think is hard for some of us to grasp, is like, well, do I really have anything to say that would matter? Yes, people love you. They want to hear your perspective on stories and memories and maybe wisdom that you've gleaned through your life, through hard times and good times. And so I really do feel like making your legacy video is an act of love to those around you that care about you and they want to hear your heart. The third question I addressed was the concerns. I talked in the video about all of the concerns that I've heard. Certainly no one really likes to look at themselves on video. That's just the way it is. But the people who love you see you every day, and they're going to love looking at you regardless. So I've never actually, in my whole history of doing this with families, I've never heard anyone say, I regret making a video. Never. In fact, I always say, you know, if you hate it, you can throw it away. And I've never heard anyone say that I've discarded it or thrown it away. Always, I hear people say, I'm so glad I did that. I am so thankful. And especially with the families we serve with Inheritance of Hope, I hear feedback many years later from families, especially if they've lost their loved one, where they say, like, this legacy video is the greatest gift that we've ever been given. And so that is just a sweet thing. I think no concern or hurdle can trump that. So the fourth, when I in the video was sharing about things you could talk about, man, there are so many things. The sky's the limit. I referred to the legacy video worksheet and the interview questions. And I kept saying, in the app, you can find this. And the app is actually going to be unveiled and gifted to you at the end of the retreat, or the reunion. So on Sunday, we will be giving you access to the brand new Inheritance of Hope app. It's another gift to you. And it's kind of a surprise, but spoiler alert, you guys are getting inside scoop by being in this breakout. So the app will be unveiled on Sunday. And in the app, there is a very clear place, Hanleys, you were asking, where you can click on legacy videos, and it has a legacy video worksheet. That's a PDF document you can print out. It has just like little spaces where you can like think and take some notes about maybe what you might want to say in your legacy video. And then the legacy video interview questions is a 3-page document. It has so many questions that we have gleaned from families over the years, some from kids that have a sick parent, others from caregivers, or just people who have made legacy videos. And we've just sort of captured them all together in one document to help you think about what you might want to say in your legacy video. Some people choose to do multiple different videos, and they share about maybe their childhood in one video, where they tell stories that perhaps their family members have heard before, but perhaps not. Stories that you remember as a child. And it's a fun thing to reflect upon and then capture in video. Don't start over. This is the thing, the whole imperfection piece. I honestly believe that in the imperfections, it really becomes sweeter. There's so many families that I've sat with as they make a video. Say, I don't really know what I'm going to say, and I don't really have anything like on my mind to say. And then they ask me, can you help me? Can you ask me questions? Usually I'll ask one question and then off they go. And it's amazing how easily it flows when you're telling stories from your life. Once you get started, it's a sweet process and it just rolls. So I recommend starting with a really easy story, something that maybe you've shared before, how you met your spouse, or when you found out you were expecting your children, maybe your favorite family trip or tradition, just something that's simple to talk about. It's not super deep or meaningful or emotional. And then if you get more emotional, that's okay, but you're at least rolling along. How to do it, you guys, the smartphone is our best friend. There are so many features that allow you to do it so easily. I encourage you to use that feature on your phone to turn the video camera around. Like I said, carpool line or in traffic is some of the sweetest moments, because you're already stuck somewhere and you have a quiet atmosphere usually in the car. But yeah, in your house, Christmas decorations, when you're doing all sorts of things, it's easy to make a legacy video. I actually just purchased a really cool device that I'm going to show you. This was on Amazon for like 19 bucks. It's a ring light, and your camera can fit, your iPhone can fit right there. It gives you good lighting, and it also comes with a really cool like remote control that allows you to just by Bluetooth start and stop your video. And so that's a really easy way to make a legacy video by yourself without someone else having to hold the camera or you having an awkward selfie angle. So that's just a hot tip. The sharing and storing of legacy videos is definitely something that comes up. I did mention the cloud storage, and that's definitely the easiest way to store, because videos tend to be larger files. I will also say that YouTube does a great job of allowing things to be unlisted and private. So you could upload your legacy videos to a private YouTube channel, and that would allow you to store bigger files. Some people choose to email those links to the YouTube videos to a special email address, like I mentioned, but also you could create a private Facebook group. Some people have done that. And they maybe don't share it with anybody. They just put their videos in there and using the YouTube link, or if it's a file that can fit in Facebook, then they do it that way. So that's a sweet place to store things if you want to do it that way. But it is becoming easier and easier. Certainly, I'm always a resource. If you want help storing your videos, don't hesitate to reach out. The IoH resources, for sure, once the app goes live on Sunday, you'll see lots of resources there. But you can always check out our website, inheritancesofhope.org, and there are some resources there as well. Specifically for legacy videos, though, the new app that's coming out is going to be a really helpful resource. Okay, I would love to see some of your questions here. Sometimes I hear people begin similar videos with, if you're watching this, it means I have died. Do you think this should be avoided, or is it okay? That is a really good question. I personally do not view legacy videos as goodbye videos or death videos. And that's really the perception that I'm trying to get people away from. certainly on legacy retreats, we have families that have a prognosis that doctors have given them a timeline, and they have a sense of urgency to do some of these things. I think there's a positive in that. There's been a little bit of a push for them to get some of these legacy activities done. That being said, we are praying for miracles. We've seen many families, and the loved one who has a terrible prognosis from a doctor will be healed or will go on to live much, much longer. And that is our hope and prayer for all of the Inheritance of Hope families we serve. And that's our hope and prayer for you. But really, none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. So I always also tell the caregivers, your spouse, the one you love that's diagnosed, they might not be the first one to leave. And so everyone should be prepared. And I definitely do not like starting a video with, if you're watching this, I'm not around, because my prayer is that you are watching these with your kids and your grandkids many years from now. And the fact is, if you live to be 100 years old and you live a long, wonderful life, how sweet will it be for those that come after you to be able to hear and see your words and your face many years from now. So yeah, that's the snapshot in time. Some people are really big into scrapbooking and capturing memories through photos. And that's a sweet thing too. I am a fan of that. I love photos and capturing memories in that way. That is a way that future generations can see what your life was like. So I love that. But there is something really unique about a video where you can actually hear and see and feel the presence of that loved one through the screen. So to me, it trumps pictures as much as I love pictures. Videos are special in that way. Okay, any other questions? I'm gonna keep watching for more questions. And the Hanleys, the worksheet will definitely be in the app that's gonna be unveiled on Sunday. So I know you can't find it yet, but it is coming. Okay. Okay, a couple other things that I thought we might be able to chat about since we have a little bit more time. There are lots of ways to develop your legacy beyond videos, and I've already mentioned why I specifically love the video format. But I also wanted to kind of inspire you guys through some other ideas that I've captured mostly from families we've served. A lot of them have great ideas. And some of these ideas are also directly from Kristen Milligan, who was my very best friend. And she started Inheritance of Hope, but it was out of this passion of being intentional and making the most of the time that she had. And it ended up being much more time than any doctor had said. So she took that time and made the most of it. And it's inspiring the things that she was personally able to do. But what's really cool is now her resources combined with many other people that we've served through Inheritance of Hope, we've been able to put it all together to help and bless you today in this breakout and future families that we serve. And so I'm just going to share a few of these legacy building ideas. You might want to take notes. I don't know. Feel free to get out a pen and paper if you like to write these things down and then think about them later. I'd love for you guys to try one or two of these. Certainly, I don't want you to be overwhelmed as I list them. For sure, I don't think anyone would do all of these things, but some people are overachievers, so go for it. And then if you've done any legacy building activities on your own or any of these that I mentioned, will you write it in the chat? Like if you've made a video or if you've done any of these other things I'm about to mention. I'd love to hear what you're doing to build your legacy. And maybe if you haven't started yet, maybe list in the chat the item that you're most intrigued to try, maybe a legacy video or one of these other things. So one of the things that's super sweet is the gift of word. And there's a few ways to do this. One mom in a retreat a while ago talked about a journal exchange that she did with her kids. And they just had like a small book, kind of like this. and she would write a note to her child and put it under her child's pillow. And then her child could read the note and then respond. Not every day. She said sometimes it would be months in between, but they would go back and forth with the journal. And some nights when she went to bed and she reached under her pillow, she felt the book and she was able to read her daughter's note and respond. And it's really powerful that when you're not talking face to face, that you open up a little bit more. Maybe a teenager who doesn't feel comfortable talking about something, they maybe feel more comfortable writing it down. And that gives you a chance to process your response, write thoughtfully back, and stick it under their pillow. What I also love about that is then you have the journal book of all your interactions back and forth with your child as a keepsake. And that is definitely part of both of your legacies, which is so sweet. I can't imagine if I had that with my kids, and then they could share it with their kids someday. And I feel like that's a really sweet idea to do a journal exchange with your kids. Certainly also with the gift of word, a lot of people choose to write cards, particularly if they have a diagnosis and they're worried that they might not be around for big events in their child's life. I know some families will write a card. Some diagnosed parents will choose some major milestones like big birthdays, a 16-year-old, 18-year-old, 21, or maybe graduation or wedding day, and they'll write cards for their kids ahead of time. I think that is a really sweet thing to do, particularly if you have a diagnosis, because sometimes you lay in bed worried about what if I'm not here for that. And by doing these cards, you can make a plan. You're prepared for the what if, and ideally you're there to give them that card that you wrote. That's what happened for Kristen, but it was just sweet for her to feel like she had made a preparation and she could rest at night knowing if the what if happened, she was prepared. The gift of photos, we touched on a little bit. I love photos. I think taking lots of photos is important. And for sure with our smartphones, it's easy to do. We have 2 breakouts this weekend all about photos. And Miss Freddie is a professional photo organizer. She's sort of famous on Instagram and social media. I'm so excited that she was willing to do these breakouts for us. She shares a video, a breakout session, about 3 ways to build a photo legacy. And she gives some really, really tangible, practical tips on how to use your photos to build your legacy. And then she has another session about how to store and back up your photos. And it is very, very helpful, practical and very helpful. But, you know, there's always someone behind the camera who isn't in the photos. I see that it's typically a mom, but sometimes it's a dad. And I just want to encourage you to make sure you find your way to the front of the camera sometimes, because we want to make sure everyone is captured in all of those photos and build your legacy. It's important work. Let's see what some people are writing here. Linda found a video of your parents talking about the day they were married in 1926. Wow, that is special. I love that. And now for your children and grandchildren to be able to see that is so powerful. That's really great. And someone asked about doing the videos together with your spouse or even your child. Absolutely. That I'm so glad you brought that up, Alan. Definitely would love if you did it with your spouse. I think the best legacy videos that I've been a part of is there's a natural banter back and forth between spouses, and it ends up bringing out laughter and tears and true emotion, and it's genuine and real. And so I love especially when spouses interview each other, and it's so fun to see when they're like, I didn't even know that about you. And to be able to share that on camera is very sweet. A very sweet idea is having your child interview you, and they can maybe even pick the question. And if they're young, how sweet to interview their parent. And then later when both of you are older, when years have passed, to watch it together and see the differences. Maybe even repeat the same questions and do the interview again years later. I think that is a very sweet way to do your legacy videos. These are great. Keep the chats coming, guys. Okay, the gift of family traditions. This is another way to build your legacy that is sweet, and it sometimes just requires you hearing other people's ideas. So I'm going to give you a couple of ideas that people have shared with me over the years. Some people this time of year, especially, we have Thanksgiving coming up, do a thankful jar. And maybe they have a jar in the center of their table, and at dinner each night, they can write down what's something they're thankful for as a family and put it in the jar. And then through the month of December, they pull them out and they remind themselves what they're thankful for. Even the next year, to be able to pull out what you put in the jar the year before. And just being intentional about capturing what you're thankful for. I like to keep those documented in a book. And so each year I can write down what we were thankful for the year before and look back and see all kind of the ways our years have changed and what we're thankful for as a family. Some people like to do the first day of school pictures, which I know lots of us do that. Have you ever seen the people do it where they have a shirt that's maybe like a large shirt and it says like first day of school, and the child wears it every day on the first day of school, and then eventually they are the size of the shirt, but it starts out really large on them. So that's a sweet tradition that you might choose to do. The Christmas ornaments. So I mentioned making a video when you put away your Christmas ornaments. I write a letter to my family when I put away the Christmas ornaments, and I have a stack of envelopes each year, and it just says like 2014. This year, this is what we did for Christmas, and then I list each of my kids, and I just tell them something I was really proud of them for that year, something that was special about that year. And so those little letters live within our Christmas ornament box. And if ever there was anything to happen to me, I really love the fact that when my family pulls out Christmas, they would have those special letters for me. I don't think they know that I do that actually, but they're there. And I actually enjoy reading them every year. I open them up and read what I wrote. I don't seal them because I like to read them each year. So those are some family traditions. Shelley said every year between Christmas and New Year's, I make a bullet list of our year, the highs and the hard parts for each of us in our family. I keep each list in a 3-ring binder with our Christmas decorations and look back on it each year as we bring those bins back out. That is so good. I love that. Yeah, keeping a list even of the hard parts and the highs and the hard parts, because that does show like your family's legacy and how you've grown together. I think that's really, really sweet. And also like God's faithfulness in the following year, how the hard parts hopefully aren't as hard. Yeah, super sweet. All right, I have a few more. If you're taking notes, this is one of my favorites. If you have an iPhone, I don't know about Androids, but there's a voice memo feature and it's on all phones. If you pull down and search voice memo, it's a sweet thing. I'm sure it's meant for like business executives to keep their dictation. I don't know, but I use it as a legacy builder. I pull out voice memo and I hit record often. It's a sweet way to capture your family's interaction. You could even start the recording during a typical family dinner and capture the banter between your family. Sometimes I'll record when one of my kids is telling a story, and most often they don't even know I'm recording. It has a really powerful microphone and it captures the voices very clearly. And the beautiful thing about iPhone is mine backs up to the cloud, so it automatically goes to my iTunes account on my computer and I can save it that way. It's not a very big file. It doesn't take up a ton of space on my phone, which is a benefit to the voice memo over a video. Certainly I like seeing faces and expressions, so videos are my preference, but file size is a big factor. So voice memo is definitely a good compromise, and it does not take up much space on your phone. A sweet thing that one of the moms that we served did, she was nearing the end of her life, and she chose to make a birthday message to each of her kids through voice memo. And it was very simple. She just sang happy birthday to them and told them she loved them. And now they can listen to it every year on their birthday. She also chose to buy a special book online. It was a story, a mother's gift to her child, and she just read it. It's a children's book, and that's actually not the right title. I have to find the title. Email me if you're interested in the book, but it's just a sweet children's book. You might have a children's book that you're used to reading to your kids. You can record yourself reading the book, and then maybe years from now, your grandkids and great grandkids can listen to your voice reading a book that you loved. So that's another idea for voice recording. I just have a couple more. Kristen Milligan did this with her kids. Someone gave her a rock and it had her kids' names engraved on the rock. And so she had one for each of her kids. And each night she held the rock and prayed for her kids. And they lived in her bedside table. She would just tuck them away each night. And then after she passed away, her husband was able to give those to the kids. And there was nothing magical about the rock. It was just a rock and it had their name on it. But it was a tangible reminder to them that their mom prayed for them every night, that she loved them and she prayed for them. And on legacy retreats, we give families a wooden cross that is hand carved from a toy company. And we encourage families to write their child's name on it or engrave it on the wood. But you can get those on Amazon, just a little wooden cross that fits in your palm, in between your knuckles. And you can pray for your kids or your grandkids or your spouse. And that's just like a reminder to them that this person loves me and they're praying for me. So that's an idea. There's a few books out there, the Story of My Life book, Listography, Question of the Day, and Story Worth. Those are all books that you can get at Target or Amazon. And they're just like tools that give you prompts to write things that help you capture some of your thoughts to build your legacy and develop your legacy. And then another sweet idea, I know some people write notes in their Bible, maybe when you're at church or listening to a message. What if you're writing those notes with the mindset that someone might get your Bible someday? Does it change the things you write? I just received my grandmother's Bible. She passed away. And reading through her notes is so precious to me. And sometimes I feel like she wrote some of those things specifically for me. But if you're writing notes in your Bible with the mindset that someday your grandchildren or your children might be reading this, it's a sweet way for you to build and share your legacy and let it grow for many generations to come. So I have been so thankful for each of you. I'm so glad that you joined this breakout. I hope that it inspired you to try something new and to step out, maybe be brave if this is something that makes you nervous. I encourage you to think about this as living better, living well, whether you have a diagnosis or not. This is not preparing for death. This is preparing for life and doing your best to make the most of each day that you're given. I feel excited that God woke us up today and he put breath in our lungs for a purpose. And I know each of you has a unique and special purpose. And I want you to build your legacy for it to be strong and lasting, something that can impact generations of people that you love that you might not have even met yet. They might not even be born yet. And that's a wonderful thing to leave your mark. And so I hope this encouraged you. I want to leave us with a couple of announcements before we go on to our next session. First, I would really love for everyone to make a Giving Tuesday page. I know you've heard that a lot this weekend. I have a little wager going on with Eric Miller. He doesn't think we're going to reach our goal of 200 pages, and I think we are going to blast the goal. So please, I just posted the link in the chat. If you haven't made a Giving Tuesday page, you have like 30 minutes until the next breakout session. So use that time to maybe eat lunch, but maybe make a Giving Tuesday page first. and then eat lunch. And then also the Hope at Home group. So I'm really excited. In December, one of our Hope at Home groups is going to be specifically dedicated to legacy building. And I get to lead that group. I think it's on Wednesday nights, but if you check out our website, you'll be able to see. And actually, you guys are like way ahead of the game because you've heard a lot of the resources. So feel free to join me in that Hope at Home group, and you can help create some excitement around the things that maybe you're going to already implement in the next few weeks. So you can share that in that Hope at Home group. But there's also lots of fun Hope at Home groups. We have an Advent group that's going to meet in December, and it's going to be family based. So if you want to join that with your family in December, you can find that on our website too. There'll also be Hope at Home groups for life after loss and other things. Don't forget to check out the photo booth today, you guys. I did a little trial a couple of days ago, and there's some really fun, like you can add an IoH mask, and you can add some like fun ears and some banners. We want to see your pictures, so make sure you make a good family photo in the photo booth and then share it on social media with the hashtag IoH reunion. And family game night tonight is going to be amazing. We honestly have like really good prizes, and you're going to receive the prizes like instantly. It's going to be worth it. And so everyone's going to want to participate and win. Some good family competition happening. And Andrew Peterson is awesome, and he's going to give us like a mini concert. So you don't want to miss it tonight. Thank you guys for joining, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the reunion, and I hope that all of you are inspired to build your lasting legacy. Bye.